TSP here. So this is the first, hopefully, many vlogs or whatever you want to call it. Finally, after years of watching and listening, a lot of brothers with some good information, important, relevant information, and definitely want to say a big shout out to all those brothers out there providing some great content, bringing the awareness up. Me myself, I'm not big. I'm not a big talker. I'm more of a action oriented person, and I decided to do this because of the recent events, things that have been going on, and just I guess decided it's time. I wanted to offer some help to the brothers out there who are trying to make a way for themselves. I'm not really here to do commentary on every issue that comes up. There's a lot of brothers out there that have already doing that. They've done that ad nauseum. Uh, Me myself, I think the first real person that got me, listening. I think Patrice O'Neal. He's a comedian, and this was back before social media and all that nonsense. And he was speaking a lot of truth about you know male and female relationships in the black community, things like that. And I guess because of the lack of that instant backlash that we have in social media these days, he was able to say a lot of stuff. So if you haven't heard of Patrice O'Neal, Black Phillip show, you know the brother's on point. It was amazing because he would say a lot of the things that I would be trying to get across to others directly in conversations, and then people just weren't feeling it. Um, but he definitely resonated with me. You know, I think that was the first, and then I don't know when it was, but I guess over the last 5 years, I've run across other brothers that been providing content and relevant stuff. Shout out to Yashkara, the Black Child. Those are more kind of those conspiracy based things that were going on. That's kind of on the next level, but would definitely, uh, I don't agree with everything that's being said out there. It can go kind of to the next level, but it gives you enough of a taste that there's you notice something. If you're a black man in this country, you know something's going on. You know, unless you just deaf, dumb, and blind, you got no sensual connection with the world. There's no way you don't know what's going on, or that there's something going on. But and then start coming across other brothers and here and there. And within the last couple of years, shout out to SARS, WP, Big B Kel, CDF. Uh, Definitely recently Black Ram. Shout out to him. Uh, he's from Chicago. What my mother, my father's side of the family, both sides are from South Side of Chicago. So I've always had a strong connection with Chicago, and also who was more recently he just started coming on. Man, boy, what's his name? Tito Sancho. Shout out to you, brother, bringing some real deep uh, uh, content, bringing some reality that a lot of people don't know, about the corruption that goes on in Chicago, which goes way, way back. And I saw a couple of his videos, and he's on point. He's on point with a lot of things. Now, do I agree with everything? You know, now that's being a little catty, and I'm not here to be catty. Me as a person, I'm about reality, truth, logic, and coming up with solutions. That's how I work my life. You know, uh, I don't have time to be. I'm a grown man. I don't argue. I don't go back and forth. Time for that. Time for that. As a black man in America, you got time for that. You need to be about your business. So, yeah, I listen to these brothers, and it was refreshing because I didn't feel alone because I hear these brothers saying the same stuff I've been thinking since I'm like 14, 15 years old. The stuff I'm trying to tell other brothers, and they telling me, oh, no, you on another plane of thinking and all this kind of stuff. No, there's not other brothers out there thinking like you. And I'm like, that can't be the case because it ain't really that hard. If you turn off the PlayStation and turn the hip hop off for a minute and just sit down and think, it's real basic math, right? So coming across all of y'all was real refreshing, man, and I appreciate all of your hard work. Uh, y'all keep it up. Be careful, because the game is real, and judging by what I've seen you guys do, it's real. But never forget that it is real. Um, a little question about the moniker TSP, the Shadow Panther. I wanted to make it clear that I'm not associating myself with the Black Panther Party. Uh, I feel like that could be another video. You know, reason why I picked the panther was that's my favorite animal. You know, because obviously it represents blackness. You kind of associate that because that's all you call it all your life. But also behaviorally, I liked the way that the animal operates. I kind of took that on for myself, and I think that the Panther Party just took on the name, and I think that's one of our problems. We don't look deeper. I want to get in that a little bit later. Strategy, tactics, things like that. But yeah, it was always known as a mysterious animal. Uh, they didn't really know its behavioral, how it operated behaviorally in its environment. It's a lone wolf. It's not in a pack. And I always consider myself a lone wolf. Uh, Solitary hunter on its own, except when mating or when raising cubs. It's a solitary animal. And for me, that always rung true to me. Growing up, I was, always a kind of a lone wolf just because of the nature of our existence, right? And even more so as time moved forward, and even it's a necessity now because as you all know, as a black man, you walk in a tightrope. You can make an honest mistake, and that could be the end of your life. That could be the end of your life, right? We've all been there. Police, all these things. I don't need to rehash it. There's been others that have documented these things very well. We know the history. Okay. So that's the reasoning behind TSP, the Shadow Panther, because for me, I always felt the need to stay in the shadows. As a tactic. Not because of fear, but just operationally, the way things are set up, survival. The panther knows instinctually it's a solitary animal, and there's other animals like lions, hyenas, things like that, where they run in groups, they have territory, right? And he has to behave accordingly to survive. And I think that that's really key, these days and times right now. Um, so why am I, coming on here uploading on YouTube? Well, the reason why I wanted to, put some information out there is because, like I said before, it's been some great commentary, great commentary. Uh, but I like to look at things as, even though we're in a situation where we kind of got to run on our own, we also have to have some type of teamwork uh, to be able to move forward. So even though panthers are solitary, they do get together and mate, and they have a communications of their different zones and different areas as a way of still collaborating and communicating, so that the species continues, right? And you can go on your own and look up the behavioral, how the panther uh, behaves in its natural environment, survives and thrives and keeps reproducing, right? So, the commentary is important, but what I wanted to offer were, solutions, actions for us brothers out here. It's, red pill brothers, I guess it's called now. The MGTOW thing, I just recently came across this whole thing, this whole movement, you know, and I'm not really here to discuss all of that, but definitely, it's definitely a red pill way of living life. When you actually start, living with the hardcore truth of the reality that we are in right now. And the reality is, we at war. We at war. And not only are we at war, we are behind enemy lines, right? And uh, we are behind enemy lines, and we are surrounded by traitors. We are surrounded by our own people that will sell us out for $1, for a little power, right? Or even for a little fame. We see it all the time. I don't need to rehash it, do I? Do I? We see it all the time. Your own people will kill you for a shoe, for anything, you know. Look the wrong way, and you done. And if that wasn't bad enough, to have these fratricidal brothers out here that are willing to commit fratricide for the slightest infraction, you know, just because they feel like it. Again, emotional thinking, no logic. We got people are willing to take money to further a system that identifies us in an inferior, counterproductive way. And you know who I'm talking about. We talking about the entertainment industry, and I'm not saying all. I think some that legitimately wanted to get into that field, to use their talents, and I'm not against that at all. But I think some saw the light on the other side, and now they just can't get out now. But nowadays, I'm not seeing much art. I'm not seeing much of that. It's just pure, I want fame and money. And I'll say and do anything you want me to do for it. That is what I am seeing. And I'm sure you're seeing the same thing if you're listening to this, if you're still listening. And the last nail is our own women. Our own women. Now there's a plenty of YouTubers out there that discuss the issues with what's going on with black women. I'm not going to get into it because that's counterproductive. I think if you got to this video, uh, you've watched enough videos to know to verify uh, the situation in your own mind. You probably experienced some things. You talk to some people, and they're like, no, 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 it's not like that. And you got on YouTube, and you start running across some other brothers that are saying the exact same thing, verifying what uh, your own hypothesis was about the situation, right? And I'm not going to get in the arguments and back and forth. I don't do that. I'm about getting things done, right? So we know that situation. And if you don't, go and check out, Sarge and Big B Kell and Black Ram. Tito's got some good stuff now too. Uh, they documented it thoroughly. I can't, and I won't rehash, the obvious. So obvious, right? So, the question is, so what do we do? Because I'm about what do we do? Because I'm you come to me with the problem. Let me know what's going on. And all these intelligent brothers have done that. Like, hey, we this is a problem we got here. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah, I've seen this, I've seen that. Yeah, you're right. This is an issue. So what do we do? First of all, I want to say that in the future I'll be making some more uh, blogs, helpful blogs, actionable blogs, things that brothers can be doing if they're struggling as far as getting work, things like that. Because we live in an interesting time as far as that whole thing is going. Get money. You know, but first things first. As a man, you need to sit down and regularly self-assess. The situation, right? If you listen to this, you're obviously leaning towards or already in the red pill uh, lifestyle, way of life, whatever you want to call it. And I think the first thing that each and one of us need to do is we need to purge ourselves of what I call the matriarchal thought process and philosophy, right? And really look at how it is affecting your decision making, how you go about your life, because that is the key cornerstone of what needs to be changed first. And the reason why I say that is because matriarchal way of thinking is based on the feminine thought process. And I'm not here to disparage women. I'm not here to denigrate women. I'm a grown man. I don't need to do that. Take responsibility for my own actions, but I don't allow a counterproductive uh, system, work against me voluntarily. I'm not going to do it. Of course, there will be women who automatically get offended and you know don't want to hear that. But that's fine. That's your prerogative and that's your right. But uh, the fact of the matter is that it is counterproductive, and I'll tell you why. You know, as a man, you cannot afford to, and really, it doesn't. Society is not going to allow you to behave the way a woman does. You know, and that should make sense to everyone. You know, there are things and ways of being that a woman can be that a man is not gonna fly, right? You know, I call it the expectation versus anticipation mode of thought. You know, a woman can, well, she does. She just expects things to work out for her. You know, because there's always been throughout history, there's been support systems for her because she's, you know, I'm not going to get into the religious thing, but you know, the Bible does say women are the weaker vessel, and that is a fact. That is a fact that no matter what, you know, these women want to say, you know, they're strong black women and all that good stuff. Yeah, you may be strong, but there's levels. Okay, there's levels, and I'll give you an example. You know, because again, I don't like arguing. I like to stick with the cold hard facts and how things really are. You know, I like to use analogies. Football, because you know most brothers either play football or they love watching football. And they understand the game, and it has a lot of correlations with life. It's based on strategy, you know, an opponent, different moving pieces, things like that. It relates to life, you know. And in order to win, in order to score, in order to be productive, you got to work as a team. You have team members that all have different assignments, and they all need to be played out in a skillful manner to succeed. Period. Right? So you take your average NFL team and you put them on a field with the world champion women's, lingerie league champions. What's going to happen? Yeah, the women are going to get annihilated within the first 20 minutes. There are going to be so many injuries. It's not going to. You don't even want to watch it. It's going to be so ugly. You know, and I'm not advocating beating up on anything like that. But the fact of the matter is that no matter what you want to say, there is a NFL team somewhere waiting to advance on you. You know, whether it be China, Japan, Russia, Europe, South America. Men think like that to get things done, and women do not. This is how it is. You know, matriarchal philosophy of thought is lacking in many things that a lot of us weren't taught and weren't instilled with growing up. And we have got to learn them. One of the major ones is loyalty. I see a tremendous lack of loyalty out there. You know, it's sad. We are just quick to throw one another under the bus. You know, I see it all the time. You say something wrong. You know, you having a discussion with your brother about something, and he disagree with you, and next thing you know, it's escalating into a violent situation. Why is that? Because it's matriarchal mindset. based on emotion. Actions based on emotion is fatal. Fatal. You can't do it. Can't do it. Okay. And again, there's going to be comments. There's going to be women in the comments and going back and forth. That's fine. That's what they do. That's how they're built. They're there to, you know, speak their mind and talk about what's in their mind, but it has nothing to do with this side of the fence here. Right? You've got to work on loyalty. And what I mean by loyalty is you can't be out here on this YouTube on your enemy's system of communication, trying to bring your own down. What kind of sense is that? You arguing back and forth over YouTube about whatever it is? What kind of grown man does that? Again, that's matriarchal mindset and philosophy. To argue back and forth over an issue based on emotion, and it does what? It does nothing. It resolves nothing. All you've done is expended some negative energy, and there's no resolution. That's a cat fight. Can you imagine being on the battlefield and you got a million soldiers coming at you shooting, and you arguing with your man next to you about who had the bigger rations at lunch? Because that's exactly what it is. So we got to instill a sense of loyalty. And I know there's not a lot of loyal ones out there, but that does not make you exonerated to to be able to act the same and stoop to those same deficiencies in character. You can't do it. If they're going to behave that way, that's fine. You let them do that. You let them get on TV and talk about each other, and you got time. You ain't got time for that. You got work to do. Right. So, like for instance, this post, being in the post, going back and forth because somebody said a racist comment or somebody called you this or that. That's girl stuff. Girls do that. You ain't got no time for it. Yeah. So the first is loyalty. That is key. I don't know how else I can put it. If I need to make another one to more eloquently break this down and why it's so important, and then you let me know. But you have to be loyal to your own team. You have to be able to do that. Okay. And you also got to have respect. Respecting yourself, respecting others. Now there will be some that disrespect you. That's fine. But if you have your own respect, that what they say and what they do doesn't matter. But the reason why I say respect is because if you have that for yourself, you're going to expect more out of yourself. And it's going to drive you to action, which is something that the matriarchal line of thought doesn't motivate you to do. The matriarchal line of thought is, in philosophy, motivates you to do what? It motivates you to complain. It motivates you to go out and march. It motivates you to beg for this and that. You understand? And when you, it's the old saying, you know, beggars can't be choosers. Another key point is accountability. We've got to be more accountable for our actions. You know, I talk to a lot of brothers, and I hear all of these reasons and excuses of why, you know, they didn't do this or that. That's what the matriarchal line of thought is about, because that's a feminine thing. So if a feminine can't be accountable for anything, you cannot hold them accountable for anything. And all you brothers out there that's been in relationships, you know this. You've all been in an argument where she did something wrong, and you called her out on it, and she flips the script, and and she says, "Oh, it was because you did this. You caused me to do this because of what you did." See, and that's another whole tangent that I'm not gonna. There's been others that have brought that up and documented that. It's how it is, right? But see, you as a man, you're not gonna get away with that because the social system that we live under don't protect a man from excuses. And I'll give you a good example of this. Go back and look at some post game conferences of like Michael Jordan when they lost, and look at his responses, right? And compare that with when you go to you have a issue with your girlfriend, you bring it up, right? There's the difference right there. They will never be accountable. You can't make them be accountable. They're not going to do it. But you have to be accountable. So that brings us to the whole, you know, the situation is now. You got this oppressive system you're under. It's physically, mentally, emotionally, you know, daily trying to, uh, you know, sabotage your life. We all know this is true. Yeah, it is. That's the deal, right? But we still have to work within it. We still have to keep working. You know, so all the, you know, blaming the man and this and this and that. No, that's an excuse. It's an excuse. Well, I don't have a car. I've been there. I rode the bus, you know, 2 hours both ways to make minimum wage. Okay, I don't. I don't. Whatever you got, it's. I don't want to hear it. I know brothers from Africa came over here with nothing, and they got themselves up to a point. This is, you know, they're African, but they are black men, and in this system, they were able to get to a point where they were in school, getting really good grades. They had their own car, had their own apartment. Okay, accountability. You know, sit down, assess, be accountable for your actions. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Okay, and I'm not saying these things to be judgmental. I'm saying these things. I apply these things in my life. Sit down, reassess, take action. Okay, just telling you. I'm just giving you a thought process. Okay, accountability is being able to look at things and be able to admit when you've made a mistake and you need to make changes. Okay. not blaming it on someone else. That is the matriarchal way. That is the feminine way. They always look to blame. It's always someone else's fault. If they were late to work, it's always someone else's fault. If they didn't finish the job they're supposed to do, it's always someone else's fault. Always. But that's fine. That's how they are. But we cannot be that way. This is one of the things that's killing us. That line of thought has no loyalty, it has no respect, it has no honor, it has no shame, and it can't take direction. And it doesn't have one of the last things is a sense of reality. You have to be able to sit down and look and see how things really are. They don't live in a world of reality. They live in a world of fantasy. And they're aided in that fantasy by the system. The system protects them. You don't see homeless women. You don't see women with kids walking out on the street. No, because they're going to give them a house to live in and money every month. See? They don't even have to live with a sense of reality. Unless they get them, unless there's a situation, you know, where reality hits them in the face. And when that does, it's very harsh. I'll give you an example. And I like to give examples because I need to give you facts. I don't like to just talk. When I bring something up, I need some facts to back it up. Okay. Saw a police video of traffic stop. It was a female cop pulled this man over, and I guess the commentary said that this man, and some of you brothers might have seen this, but the commentary stated that the person the man she pulled over was an ex-con, uh, and he was either on probation or he was under violation, had a warrant or something like that, and basically it meant this traffic stop was it. He was going back, and his attitude was he was not going back to prison at any cost. Okay, because this whole story is going to lead to my last point. Uh, so the female cop gets out and she decides to go and come up on the car like it's a normal traffic stop. Now the key thing here is that she's by herself. Okay, and this goes back to my expectation versus anticipation. Okay, I hate to call it the, the patriarchal way of thinking because I don't think we have a true patriarchy, but I guess you would call it a more male way of thinking. Okay, she walked up on that car in a feminine mindset when she should have walked up on that car with a male mindset, because what she did, she made almost a fatal mistake. She has him get out of the car, and so when he gets out of the car, he is probably 3 times as big as she is. He's probably 6'5", something like that. Pretty stout cat. Okay, and she's all of 5'0", your average size woman. But she expected this man to adhere to her power as a police officer in that moment, you know, and she expected him to do what she wanted him to do. Right. So what happened? Well, you already know what happened. He caught her slipping, hit her in the jaw, shatters her jaw. She drops like a fly, of course, because she's all of what, 5'0". And I mean, her body, she looked dead. I mean, her body collapsed. And I'm not advocating hitting women or anything like that. I know people are going to go off the rails, and because that emotional mindset, you're not listening. You know, you listen with your emotions. I've never hit a woman ever. I don't need to. They're weaker than me. It's just how it is. But yeah, he hit her in the face, shattered her whole face, and she dropped to the ground. She was done. I can't remember exactly if he grabbed a gun or not, but he got back in the car and drove off. She could have been killed because he could have took a gun and let loose easily. She was very fortunate to live. But see, the anticipation versus expectation. See how it can get you into trouble when you don't assess the situation, live in a sense of reality, and also with a sense of strategy. What she should have did when she saw how big he was, she should have immediately backed off, drawn her weapon, had him get on the ground and call for backup, because she thought, "Oh, I'm a policewoman and I'm strong and I'm a strong woman and all of this nonsense." You know, the reality confronted her, and she was harmed very badly, almost lost her life. And that's what happens with us. That's exactly what happens with us. We fail to assess, we fail to strategize, we're not accountable for our actions, and we don't live in a sense of reality. We live like we are in our own country, and you know, for us, by us, and everything's, all we got to do is go out here and get a job, and get a BMW, and everything's all right. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. You're making a very deadly mistake, and a lot of us, it is fatal. It is fatal, unfortunately. Uh, so we have to purge this mentality. You know, and a lot of the commentary that these brothers have been doing, I'm sure there'll be more in the future. Doing a really good job of making light of how dangerous this mode of thought is. You know, I'll give you a couple other historical examples. Go in and look up uh, the reign of Cleopatra and the British female rebel of the Roman Empire, Boudica or Boudica. I don't know the exact pronunciation, but it's Boudica. You know, these two women are glorified in the history books. I may make a video on the specific details about each of these characters, not to run this video too long. But when it comes back right down to it, these are women in power, right? These are women in power, and because they failed to, because basically they have the inability to, they don't think and strategize like a man does. You know, a lot of people got killed and their armies were destroyed. You know, go check it out. Go check it out. So those are two things we really have to uh, be focused on right now. It's just a start. Again, I'm gonna be making some more videos about, you know, things that needs to be done. When I said living reality, that one of the things about living reality is being able to accept when uh, you're in a position where you're about to take an L, or you can easily take an L based on what the opposition is doing. Okay, give you an example. In what was it, late 1800s, Japanese were basically living in an isolationist lifestyle. They were isolated from the rest of the world. They didn't have much interaction. They did have communications with the Dutch, um, but didn't have much interactions with the world. But one day, I can't remember if it was U.S. ships or it was ships from either America or Europe, and they show up, with gunships and guns and cannons and all this kind of stuff. And the Japanese, they're still doing uh, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon over there. Swords and kung fu and kung fu is Chinese. I'm being, I digress. But you know what I mean. Bow and arrows. The crux of the matter is that the Japanese men realized, based on what they saw, the technology, that they were in a dangerous position of taking an L. If one of these countries decided to roll up and invade, they were going to be slaughtered, right? So what did they do? They started to advocate modernizing their their military technology and their way of life. Was it easy? No. The actual were actual detractors, and even the ruling clan at the time, the Tokogowa Empire, they refused to change because they were so caught up in their culture, right? Because at that time they had the samurai culture and the samurai code, with the swords, and it was unmanly to, you know, use anything but a sword to fight your foe to the death and all of this nonsense, right? They were living in a state of fantasy. And the others are like, no, fool. You see what these people just rolled up to our country in? Do you see that? See, they recognized a potential fatal L approaching, and they acted accordingly. Did the women do it? No. I get. You think the women were noticing? Oh, they have guns and cannons, and we're in trouble. No, they didn't even think about that stuff. The fact is, there were men that noticed this and enacted change. And they actually had to have a civil war. They had to get rid of the ruling clan, the Tokugawa Empire. They had to have a civil war against their own people because they realized if we don't get these fools out of here, those those Europeans or Americans, they're gonna come back here. They're gonna come here and invade and take this land over because that's what men do. That's male thought patterns. Male thought patterns. It's just like when you out out on the town or whatever with your boys. When you see another group or any man, what do? Are you looking at his watch? You looking at his what kind of you know brand clothes he's got on? No, you look at what? You look at how tall he is, how big he is, how in shape he is, and what his demeanor is. Is he drunk? Is he you know acting a fool, looking kind of off? See, that's instinctual male thought patterns, and we have been trained for 60, 70, maybe longer, I don't know how many years, to think like a female would, not to use our natural instincts. And we get annihilated because of it here. I've been seeing so much, see brothers fall for so much garbage. I just can't believe it. It breaks my heart because we don't know how to live in reality. See, women can do that. They don't live in a world of reality. Even themselves personally, you know, all that lipstick, the hair, the bra, the heels, everything about them is a lie. I mean, but it's an attractive sight. I'm not complaining, but they have to live in the reality of false beauty. They have to. And I'm not saying all, but a big majority. You know what I'm talking about? There's no absolutes, but a big, large majority, and all the men that listen to this, you already know, do not need to go on a diatribe about it. If you don't know, I can't help you because this has been a long human history. It's been the same stuff. Okay, but that's not gonna fly for you. Okay, so one thing I would look at is Shang Tzu, the Art of War, because you need to understand, assess where you are. You are in a enemy land. You are daily under threat from a system that opposes you and your advancement as a normal human being. That's just how it is. And unfortunately, there are many of your own that seek to keep you there as well because they've fallen for the disinfo program, to keep you down. We have a system in our community where and I think this is the only group in history that has um, awarded awarded negativity and dysfunction, sabotagery. I don't even know if that's a word. Fratricide awards. We expect to get awarded for it. We have members of our own that expect to go to award shows and get a statue be about a song where they talk about killing their own. You understand? How do you expect to advance thinking like that? If you think you can keep going and actually do something positive thinking like that, if you think you can not understand basic language, mathematics, history, things like that, you already lost. Because if you can't do that or don't want to, you are you're leaving your mouth open. That's what you're doing because there are others that are consistently doing this. They are consistently learning and applying themselves to get better. And unfortunately, the system that we live in, those people that do these things have other people that use this knowledge to make it work against their opponents. And we are seen as opponents. I'm not going to speak much against the system and racism and all that kind of stuff because they're doing what they're going to do. They're protecting their own team. And if you think you're going to stop it by complaining and whining like your girlfriend does when you don't take out the trash, you are sadly mistaken, my brother. I'm sorry. You know. So what we need to be doing is we need to man up, need to skill up. Skill as in skills. The skills that we all are lacking. We need to build ourselves up. Who made that statement? We need to rebuild our black mind. Somebody made that statement. Somebody on the YouTube blog. I can't remember. But you know who you are, and that's yours. You came up with that. That was good. Okay, because based on, I think really what the whole motivation behind this is the Quan McDonald incident. Okay, for me that was a purposeful thing done because you could see on the video if anybody didn't see it, uh, it was purposeful. You know, and not only that, He was probably dead when he hit the ground, but they pumped, probably 10 more shots in him. I think that was purposeful to say, yeah, we're gonna slaughter you in the streets. See what you do about it, because they know what the general history is of our reactions have been when things like this happen, right? What do we do? What do we do? We do a lot of talking, talking and marching, talking and marching, right? And then, at the very worst of it, we go and destroy our own communities because they know better not to step across that line. They know better, right? It's counterproductive. You can't do it. Yeah. So this ran a little long. What we need to be doing is closing our mouth, shutting up, assessing the situation. You ain't got no time to be down in the YouTube comments arguing back and forth with somebody. You don't have time for it. You need to be getting on your grind. If you're in a particular situation, you need to be dealing with that. If you're not working right now, you need to be figuring out something. And I'm gonna make some more videos, more focused on that kind of stuff. Some plans of action for you. Okay, because I'm about resolutions. I'm not into this, commentaries about the obvious, because at this point it's obvious. There's been many brothers that have documented this stuff for years. You know, we got to take action. I think those brothers are an important part of the team. We need commentary. We need presentations of issues. Okay, this is an issue. Yeah, we need that. But right here, I want to, give us some actions to be able to do to get ourselves in a better position. So I think that's all I got. SPT out.